Hello champions and future champions, hello Chessmood family. Gabuzyan is here with you and we're beginning our daily lesson. Before discussing the topic, I will ask you to pause the video in this position and try to find the best continuation for black. Let me remind you that today we are having part 4 of typical exchange sacrifices, and here we're going to see when we're sacrificing the rook on f3 or f6 squares. In this position, with bishop pair, black is trying to attack on opponent's king, having the open lines and as well option to play rook f3 move in this position. Let's take a look what's happening after g takes f3. In the previous parts as well, we have seen that with the exchange sacrifice, we are spoiling opponent's pawn structure, and especially if it's happening close to opponent's king, it's getting really weakened. Now there is no pawn through the g-file, and we are going to have a huge attack. Black can be taking now bishop h2, and after king f1 go for knight g5. But in real, that's not so important to destroy this pawn, because when bishop was on d6, it was fulfilling very important mission, protecting c5 pawn and holding this queen far away from the gain. Even though after queen c5, white king is still very much weakened, queen is partially joining the game. We can achieve the great results as well before taking on h2. Instead we are going knight g5, keeping bishop here, and now same attack is coming, but without white queen in the game. White is not having good options now. We're going to take on f3, take back the exchange. If white goes king f1, we can capture knight f3. Now the rook is under attack. If white is going somewhere, let's say to d1, we have many winning moves since white's king's position is destroyed, but there is a very much logical option. I will ask you to pause the video in this position and think about the right idea. When we're attacking and opponent's king is in a bad spot, as we know, queen is the best attacker, the strongest piece on the board. In this position, black can be going queen f7, or let's say queen e7, threatening queen g5, queen h4, and in different ways creating mating threats for opponent king. It's very important while attacking to involve all of the powerful pieces. After knight g5, in the real game it has happened rook e4, but now, instead of taking the exchange on e4, we're taking it on e1. Knight f3 check. Let's say if king f1, we're playing knight d2 check and winning the rook on e4 instead of taking back the exchange. As well, after the check, if king is going to this long diagonal, g2 or h1 squares, we're capturing on e1 and this rook now is pinned, so we're still staying with a huge material advantage. With the beginning rook f3 exchange sacrifice idea, black is destroying opponent's kingside pawn structure and winning the game. Let's go ahead and see another example. This time we're having it for the white side. It's our turn, and I offer you to pause the video and think how to continue here. First of all, let's take a look at a logical knight f5 move, bringing the knight into the attack. But what's the issue? First of all, because of this pawn chain and bishop on f6 protecting g7 spot, black king is now feeling very much safe. We're not having any checks, and as well in some positions, if black is having a good time, they can try to play g6 and remove our knight. It's not possible now, because after g6 there is knight h6 check and this bishop can be hanging. But in future, black can prepare this idea as well. For this reason, going knight f5 is not a great option. Instead, we can play rook f6 move, sacrifice the exchange, and after pawn takes back, only now knight f5. Let's take a look at this picture. No bishop here, pawn cover of king is destroyed. Now knight on f5 is already in an outpost and black cannot be removing this knight. King will be getting under different dangerous threats who threaten now to play queen g3 or queen h4. Black cannot be exchanging this knight now. If trying to go knight d4, we have queen g3 check with a checkmate. Because of the same queen g3, knight g7 is not an option as well. Black has to go king h8, and we continue with queen h4 move, now threatening queen f6 with a further checkmate. If black goes now queen d8 move, protecting f6 pawn, it's not working out. We have a very nice continuation. You can pause the video and try to spot it. There is a nice move available, which is bishop to b5. We're using the fact our rook here is protected, and with this tempo we're attacking queen and the rook at the same time. If black goes knight d4, we can take bishop e8, black cannot take back because f6 is hanging. White is winning here. That's why after queen h4, the only move is knight to g7, because if knight g5, we're winning with queen h6, having two threats at the same time. That's why here, knight g7, queen f6 and rook g8. Seems like with the price of a pawn, black managed to protect g7's checkmate threat. We need to adjust our attack and go for the next idea. I offer you to pause the video and try to find it. Now we're switching to f7 spot with knight h6. Because this is a tempo, and as well the rook on g8 now is hanging, it's a good decision. After rook gf8, we go rook f1. Because we have now 3 attackers versus 2 defenders, black cannot be protecting f7 spot. If now it's white to move, we are threatening the following checkmate. Knight f7 check, king g8, knight h6 check, and after king h8 we can take, and rook f8 is mating. That's why, after rook f1, here black played queen c5. Now, if we give a check, king g8 and play knight h6 check, black can be going king h8, and queen on c5 is protecting the rook. Now we're not having this checkmating idea. This is my last question to you. How to continue for white in this position? We are having a distraction move. Since queen is protecting rook on f8, we're beginning with b4. And here is the thing. Queen is not having any options to stay on this line. Even if black is capturing the piece on c3, we're still mating with knight h6 and same queen f8 idea. White is winning here. Another time we are seeing very beautiful exchange sacrifice and nice continuation of the attack. Let's now go ahead and see last example in this topic. Here it's black to move, and I offer you to pause the video and try to find the best continuation. Having in mind exchange sacrifice idea, black is going for knight e4 move. After pawn takes, rook f3, g takes f3 and queen g5. We're getting the same picture. We have now bishop and a pawn for opponent's exchange. But more importantly, we have destroyed pawn structure, weakened king, very nice outpost, good game through the f file, as well very strong bishop. After a few moves, like c3 trying to get control over d4 square, rook f8 and knight g3, black is getting a huge advantage. Here, black has a very nice maneuver. I offer you to pause the video and try to find it. As we know, outpost on f4 as well as on h4 in this position can be very well used by our knight. Black plays knight e7, b4 bishop b6, and after rook e2, when white is trying to protect f2 spot another time, we go knight g6. Later on, black is winning in this game, using power of the rook through the f file, bishop here, and as well very much bothering opponent king with pair of queen and a knight. This was the last example of today's daily lesson and as well the series of exchange sacrificing daily lessons. This was part 4. If you haven't seen the previous ones yet, I really recommend you to check them out. Now, let's go ahead and you will get your homework. In this already exchanged down position, it's white to move, And I will ask you to share your thoughts and ideas how to continue here in the comments section below. GM Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.